So this story comes from a game that I ran 2 days ago. It's a little different than my usual game. You see, a few sessions back, one of my players, Tyrion, the wizard, I talked about him in my last video, he found a ring. It was a ring of wishes. The problem is the way he got this ring. You see, I hid this ring inside of a mimic, just a base mimic. I didn't play with it at all. It was just the standard, by the book mimic, which is a big deal because I like to take monsters and play with them. Like, I'll give them special abilities, or I'll play with their AC, I'll up their health, or I'll make them super weak. It really just depends, because while the base monsters are great, I kind of want to give it my own flair, my own spin, especially if, like, something's going on in the story. You know, just make it fit just a little bit better. But this was a base mimic in a very strong place. Like they were level 16 and they were getting their bums handed to them. So when they found this mimic and two-shot it, that should have been a red flag. Tyrion, our wizard, decided to search the body, which is great. You should always search mimics because they usually have treasure that they use as bait. This mimic had treasure he was using as bait. Now, it's worth noting that I put this mimic before a major battle. Like, they would walk into an area, they'd see this mimic. Cool, let's go loot that chest. Oh, it's a mimic, let's kill it. Cool, stuff, great. And then a major battle. But anyway, Tyrion goes to search this body to find what this mimic has to hold. And this mimic has a ring. Our wizard has Identify, because of course he does. What wizard doesn't have Identify? So he casts Identify, and I tell him it's a ring of wishes. His eyes light up. It's like, I will hide this from the party. They will not know I have this. I shall sleight of hand this into my bag real quick. He rolled a 1. Everybody in the party, what's that? Little bit of metagaming, but I allowed it. It's nothing. Really? What'd you loot from the body? We saw you got something. Didn't necessarily see what it was, but see you got something there. So what did you get? It's nothing. It's nothing. It's just some gold. The party, insight check. So they did. And I had Tyrion roll a deception. I had the party roll insight. At least two of the 3 party members rolled really well on their insight, so they knew he was lying. And they didn't like that. They don't take kindly to liars, which I appreciate, because it's hilarious from my side of the screen. But Tyrion went off to say, you know what? I don't want to tell you guys what it is, but it's a magic ring, and I'm not going to tell you what it does. So, yeah. The party says fair enough, and that's the end of that. So here Tyrion is. Ring of Wishes. What do I wish for? And he spends some time on it. He waits a couple of sessions before he uses this thing, because he's like drafting his wish, because he knows how I am. You make a wish, and I am going to nitpick it to death. So he drafts his wish, and he finally comes up with something, and he messages it to me over my phone so that I can read it as he's saying it, so like the wording is exact. I'm like, okay, cool. Now, he got really specific on how he worded this wish, which is good. I want you to do that when you're making a wish, because otherwise, as I said, it's not going to be what you want. But what he wished for was a Staff of the Magi, an incredibly powerful magic item. Like, normally, if you wanted this item, it was going to be like the end of a campaign kind of reward, or you need this item in order to kill this bad guy kind of deal. Not something you're just going to find laying around, not like, oh, hey, look at that in the magic show. There's this insanely powerful item. It's like, oh, yeah, let me go buy that real quick. I'm out for bread and milk and some eggs, and, oh, sure, why not this end game staff? But he makes the wish. And I describe the ring, the sapphire that let out a dim light before it seems to pulsate just a little bit. And you swear in the stone you can see something start to move. It's almost like an eye has rolled out from underneath and is now facing you, almost like the eye of a cat or a serpent. it looks at you, and suddenly you can hear in your voice, "You wish? You mortals are always wishing for the impossible, powerful things, or to redo time. You know what? I'm tired of you mortals wishing. I wish this time." So, Tyrion found a cursed ring of wishes, 'cause I'm funny like that. And so, he began his epic journey to attain his wish. The way I had it written is, it is possible for him to get his wish granted, but it is incredibly difficult, and I'm not giving him any hints. In a moment, his mind is transferred from his body, and he finds himself in a perfectly black room, like you can't see anything, when suddenly 3 doors appear. One says Brothers Grimm, one says Future Content, and the other says The Future. He thinks for a second. I choose Brothers Grimm. Okay, cool. That's what we're doing. And that's where we're going to end this session because this has to happen. So I want to do this one in kind of a 2-part deal because what happens next, I want to make sure I tell this story just so, because it's so beautiful. What happens, he chose Brothers Grimm in that wish, which means he got to play through a Brothers Grimm story. And because his character is like 300 pounds, he's an elf, by the way, I decided I was going to go with Hansel and Gretel. So, like, I pulled out my large book of Brothers Grimm stories, I opened it up, and I got to work on the next session. And I will tell you that story next time. Until then, I hope you have a nice day.